About to start day 7 of my NaNoWriMo writing. We are writing the novel Rise Again, a sci-fi novel by Jay Wilburn. Let me switch on over now before I forget. Again, Rise Again by Jay Wilburn. I'm at 15,773 words, and my goal for today is 17,500. So a little less than 2,000 words to do on that 2,500 word per day average. That will lead us up to day 20 to get 50,000 words. Don't know if the novel will be done in 50,000 words, but that's where we're trying to reach for a goal. So I might continue the novel after that. Maybe like in January, I'll give it a rest and then come back to it. Or I may be finished, or I may be close enough to being finished that I'll take another day or two to wrap up the first draft, but we'll see. Probably should know the novel a little bit better than that, but again, this is for Nano and it's live, so we're just working on getting the story told in a pretty good way, and I'm not disappointed with it so far, so I think it'll be good. So chapter 8 is called Post End 171, Cold War Shift 14, Alaska ?1. So that's where we are with this. Okay. I was only about 12 when this happened. I was only about 12 when this happened. It's hard to remember what I was like back then. Much less the world. I want a stronger start for that. I'm still going to use those sentences, but I want a stronger start for that. For this chapter. Okay. I set the spiders loose as soon as the sun dropped below the horizon. Alright. I was only about 12 when this happened. It's hard to remember what I was like back then, much less the world. After that, I set loose the mini whirlybirds and let them fly. Some nights I got nothing more interesting than watching a cat chase down a mouse or dogs fighting behind a gas station. Other nights surprised me, and none more than this night. I was a drone head as a kid. I loved them back then. I had to build them myself. Today, all this time later, drones are everywhere. They deliver our groceries and they fix our flats. The skies swarm with them, and we hardly even notice. This, okay, let me do a new paragraph. This was back at the beginning of the 20s. It may have been, this was back at the beginning of the 20s. It may have been 2020 now that I think about it. So I might have been closer to 11 at the time. Eric Calvert lived across the street from me from the time I was 10 until I turned 14 when we moved for my dad's, that'd be lowercase, for my dad's job. Back then, the Soviets still controlled. Back then the Soviets still controlled. Europe. Now let's get a little darker there. Still controlled Western Europe, Northern Africa, North India, Alaska, and was pushing into the Yukon territory. The U.S. was still isolationist, and we worried about missiles. Alright, let me spell that right. We still worried about missiles flying down from the Great White North to burn us to a cinder. Going to school in the 20s meant hiding under your desk once a week to practice for neutron war. Okay. There were drones in the skies back then, of course, but they were watching for Soviet spies, and if they ever found my spider or whirlybird drones and tracked them back to me, my dad probably would have lived out his life in a homeland security basement, and I might have been there with him. It was stupid, but I was just a dumb kid who was smart with electronics and obsessed with drones. So that night, my crawlers and flyers came back with all sorts of video for me to watch and edit. I saw some of it live, but it got really interesting when I put it all together. Of course, Eric was the first one I called when I had the movie all together. I don't know what my parents thought I was doing in my room all that time. Maybe watching girls on TikTok, or worse. Sometimes I did that too, but whatever they thought, they never seemed to check up on me. I guess being worried about neutron annihilation was distracting for parents back then. Okay. Is it good? Eric sat down in the chair next to me in front of my big monitor as my LED lights, LED string lights changed from blue to purple to green and back, he was practically rubbing his hands together. He was practically rubbing his hands together like a cartoon villain. Alright. Moving right along here. Okay. I brought the screen up and the video was near the beginning of the loop and far from the good stuff. One of my spider views showed the Bristone. Showed the Bristone name on my mailbox. I'm getting bad about writing words twice. I wonder if that's a brain thing or just a bad habit. Views showed the Bristone name on my mailbox and the Calvert name on Eric's mailbox across the street as it scurried along. I started to fast forward. It's crazy is what it is. I'm so excited. Eric said, when they arrest you one day, I'll put in a good word for you. I'll deny everything, but I'll say you were a good guy. I stuck up my middle finger at him and then let the video run again. A whirly bird floated above the roof, looking down on a house. Where is this, Eric? Okay, let me put the other kid's name. Where is this, Cody? Eric asked. Okay, I can stop using their names at this point, I think. Where is this, Cody? Eric asked. I was gonna just make a generic name, but let me put something me put something. Dick Cheney Avenue. I said, I made sure to look at the blue glow on his face as I said it. The big house at the dead end. I wasn't disappointed. Don't try to tell me that. No, let me. He said he wasn't disappointed. Oh shit, he said. I smiled and nodded. You're damn right. Then he narrowed his eyes at me. Don't try to tell me that you saw ghosts. Your special effects aren't that special. I can tell they're fake. It took me a second to understand what he was accusing me of. That house on Cheney was always thought to be haunted. My dad told me that the couple who used to live there was in a nasty divorce that was never going to end. So the place just sat there. I had been editing video for hours, so I hadn't thought about ghosts at all. I shook my head. No, let's say. Nothing like that. The place is weird, and there's weird shit going on inside, but it has nothing to do with ghosts. No special effects, no tricks. I swear. That'd be a comma. It's real, but you still won't believe it. All right. Eric stared at me a long moment as I let the setup shot play out. His face changed color in the cool LED lighting maybe 9 times before he finally spoke again. If you brought me over here and built me up for a trick, I'm not coming back. It's not a trick, I said. I swear on my mother's eyes, it's not. But even if I did trick you, you know you'd come back. I turned my attention onto the monitor and fast forwarded a little more. Okay, he said, "That's true, but I still won't like it." Now, I haven't looked at that footage in years, but I remember it because I watched it so many times. I've been tempted to load it up on YouTube 1,000 times, but I never have, and probably never will. I can't remember the last time I showed it to anyone. It's on a stick in a shoebox up in my closet, I think. The spiders crawled into the house along the walls and ceiling. I had already pivoted the views so that it always stayed upright. I'd already picked the shots and ordered the cuts so that it played like a real movie. The figures moved through the shadows of the living room. The figures moved through the shadows of the living room, and Eric leaned forward like I knew he would. He was just starting to open his mouth. He was just starting to open his mouth when the night vision view kicked in. He closed his mouth and kept watching. I even had a filter that turned night vision into crisp black and white. Who are they? Who are they? He whispered. Just watch. Two guys and a girl. This is going to be good. I cut my eyes at him because I swear I had no idea what he was talking about. His eyes remained fixed on the show. Patrick, the woman on the screen, said, "Are you taking the antibiotics?" Did I misspell antibiotics? What's wrong with me? I certainly did. Alright. Didn't put the bio in biotics. Alright. Evelyn. Eventually he's going to give her a nickname, I think, but... Okay. Evelyn. He seemed frustrated as he leaned back against the wall, and she rolled up his pant leg. Eric rubbed his hands together. If you don't take them all when you're supposed to, If you don't take them all when you're supposed to, she said, let's use her name. Aveline said, the infection could get worse. It might even become resistant. I know. Patrick said. I know, Patrick said. I know because you won't stop telling me. I know, Patrick said. I know because you won't stop telling me. But we keep jumping between worlds, and so we don't even know what kinds of medicine we're getting or at what strength. Just take them when I tell you to, she said. Whatever world we are in, do as I say. Yes, madam, he said, and rolled his eyes. My camera quality was good enough to see eye rolls in the dark, and I built them all myself from scraps when I was a kid. I looked at Eric because I thought he would think it was cool. We were both into sci-fi. Let me have him say science fiction. We were both into science fiction. And these three were talking about traveling between worlds. Different worlds with different medicines. They weren't lying either, because they didn't know we were watching. That alone should have sealed it, because everyone knew there was always someone watching. Even there's always somebody watching back then during the years of Red Scare. All right. The problem, it's still true today. Once you let people watch your every move, it's impossible to roll that back. That's a whole different discussion. But Eric didn't look impressed, maybe confused, but he looked frustrated too. I didn't say anything. On screen and through our headphones, she said, Trey. Trey. The other guy who had been looking out the window onto the dead end on Cheney. Am I doing that right? Okay. Turned around. She said, I need you to watch him while I go fix something for us to eat. Sure, fine, Trey said before turning back to the window. You think I'm going to hop away? Patrick asked. She moved into the kitchen and the monitor switched to a split view. She didn't do anything interesting, but I thought it was a cool shot. She said, "You've healed from the accident. You may hobble because you don't take your medicine like I told you, but you could run. And I don't think you're going to run, but if you get too high of a fever, we're going to have to take you to a sanatorium. Oh, I spelled that right. Hospital, Trey said. Whatever it's called in this world, that will be the next step. Okay. If we keep, I don't want to say robbing. Okay. What might be another word for that? If we keep breaching dispensaries, if we keep breaching dispensaries in every world, Trey said under his breath. Trey mumbled, robbing pharmacies. Patrick continued, then I'll be getting treated in a detention center. Prison, Trey said. We'll all be in prison. Patrick barked at Trey's back. Just do as I say, please. She said from the kitchen as she heated up a can of soup. I thought Eric would be surprised the stove still worked in that old house, but he still said nothing. His face was twisted up like he'd smelled a fart. All right. Where do we go from here? Okay. Patrick looked to the kitchen and then back at Trey. He leaned onto one elbow and said, "Hey, come here. Keep quiet and come here." Trey looked over his shoulder for a beat and then walked to Patrick and kneeled. "You better not." Eric leaned back from the screen next to me. "What?" I asked. "I don't want to see two dudes go at it," he said. I looked at the screen and then at my friend again. "What are you talking about? They better be planning on seducing her and not going at it while she's in the kitchen." "I'll put bleach in my eyes if you've tricked me into watching two dudes." "What are you even talking about?" Eric looked at me like I was the crazy one. "Did you bring me over to watch them get it on with the girl or not?" "What?" I looked at the screen like I had maybe missed something. "No, this is just something crazy. Keep watching." "Do they do it or not?" "Not," I said. "This is better." He widened his eyes and sat up so straight in his chair I thought he was going to stand. "Better? What's better? What's the point all your illegal drones if you aren't going to, okay, hold on, I don't know what I was doing there. If you aren't going to film naked chicks. What? That's not, get over that, Eric. This is something important. These three are up to something weird. You need to keep watching to the end. You'll see it. You'll be glad you did, even though no one gets naked. Oh shoot, okay. He settled back, I don't need to keep saying back, he settled into his chair. Nothing's better than that. I'm not looking for naked chicks every time I send out the drones. This is better. You'll see. I could tell he didn't believe me, but he was still watching, and that was fine. I was young, though, so I really did mostly send out the drones looking for naked chicks. I had spied on Eric's sister a few times. Let's say older. Sister a few times, but I wasn't going to tell him that. This story isn't about that anyway. While we were going back and forth, Patrick and Trey were whispering. I'm sure Eric missed all of that, but the important part was at the end anyway. Trey had said, "What's wrong?" Are you more hurt than you let on? No, Patrick said, looking toward the kitchen again. The accident was weeks ago. We're lucky to be alive, but I'm fine. I'll shake whatever infection got into that cut on my leg that night. That's not what... Okay, hold on. I do want that line, but I wanted to put something in between. Okay. Alright, so quotation mark, enter. Alright. Seatbelts would have helped, Trey said. In a world where firebombs fall from the sky on the regular, you'd think, let me roll that up, you'd think they'd have come up with seatbelts. That's not what I wanted to talk to you about. What then? Trey asked, matching Patrick's conspiratorial tone. Do you like her? What? Aveline. Trey, do you have feelings for her? Trey recoiled a little. No. I mean, I like her fine. I haven't. Patrick waved Trey's stammering off and said, I know you haven't, but do you have feelings for her? Trey took a deep breath. He looked to the kitchen before he spoke again. We could see on screen that she was busy cooking, but they were trying to talk without her hearing. Trey finally said, "I feel responsible for her. You too. I didn't mean to bring either of you. You were trying to separate us, and I didn't want her getting trapped in your world, which might be hostile. I understand why you activated the portal thing while I was still too close. That's beside the point of my question." Trey looked away. I wasn't even facing her when I activated the system. In her world, I turned around when she called my name, and then we both slipped worlds together. She was furious and afraid. She blamed me and was angry with me most of the time after that. Can you get her back to her world? Patrick asked. Is it even possible? Even by accident? I don't know, Trey said. I don't know, Trey said. As far as I know, I've never slipped into the same world twice. I've kept good notes, but you only see what you see. Sometimes I have no idea what made one world different from another, but everything I have found always points to each world being a new one I had not seen before, even when they're similar. So, not possible, or probably not likely, Patrick said. It might have been a question, but I couldn't tell. Trey shrugged, shook his head, and shrugged again. I'm not sure I ever saw a more unsure gesture before or since. Alright, moving right along. I think I can finish this chapter before we stop today. Okay. Trey took a deep breath and said, if I pop in somewhere and I'm lost in the woods, if I don't see anyone or hear any planes, it could be a primal world. I think I accidentally hit insert, so let's see what happens. No, we're good. It could be a primal world. It could be pre-industrial. And I just don't happen upon a village before I recharge. It could be post-industrial or even advanced, and I just happen to be in the wilderness. Do you think you could ever get us back? Trey sighed and said, I feel like each time I slip further and further away from my original timeline. So I would suppose that holds true for every world we leave behind as we go. Have you considered Patrick stopped What? Nothing. That's not the point. I have feelings for her. Trey stared at Patrick. Really? Yes. Now, my problem is that we're at your mercy. Whatever gadgetry runs these adventures between worlds is wired up under your skin. Trey said, grafted. Patrick closed a fist and tightened his face, but then relaxed again. Trey made no move, like he feared being hit. Maybe he knew they were at his mercy. Mercy, like Patrick had said. Patrick took a deep breath and then said, fine, grafted. My point is, if I were to act upon those feelings or express them to her, would that be a problem? Trey's eyes moved around like marbles in his head. No, I don't know. I'm not sure how she'll react, but she doesn't belong to me. Probably doesn't really like me still. I feel responsible for this situation. We're friends, I think. I wouldn't... Wait. What is it you're worried I would do? Patrick stayed stone-faced as he said. Patrick stayed stone-faced as he said, "Would you get angry and leave without us sometime? Would you be tempted to leave just the two of you if the opportunity arose to make it appear maybe you had no choice?" No. Shh. Patrick said. "Everything okay in there?" She called. "We're fine," Patrick said, "just trying to figure out the universe. Is the soup ready?" Okay, you may not know that she's making soup. "Is the food ready?" "Almost." "Do you need help?" he asked. Stay still and rest like I told you," she said. "Yes, boss." Patrick listened. Okay, hold on. Patrick listened for a moment. Yes, boss. Patrick listened for a moment. Patrick listened for a moment and then turned his attention back on Trey. In a lower voice, he said, "I'm not asking your blessing, but I'm asking if you would ever betray us if things went forward. I need a real answer from you. I don't care about myself. I'll find my way in any world. You dumped me in, except one of those apocalyptic ones. But I don't want to put her in danger. I'd never, Patrick." "Do what you want and respect what she wants. but I'd never, not for any reason. They shook hands. She brought the soup and crackers to them, and they ate in silence. Eric stood up. I'm going home, man. No, just wait. It's about to happen. Eric dropped into his seat. Will someone spill the soup? Like and comment for a follow-up video. Just hold on, I said. As I fast forwarded to when Trey stood up. I came in on the middle of his sentence, but that part didn't matter. When can we jump again? Patrick asked. I've been recharged for a while, Trey said. Trey, why'd you tell him? She said. Patrick looked back and forth between them. You two keeping secrets. I must be slipping because I had no idea. I just want you to get better, she said. I asked Trey to keep it quiet until I thought you would be safe. If we ended up in another poisoned world. Patrick waited for her to finish after she trailed off. When she didn't, he looked up at Trey. So, why did you tell me? you asked, he said. And why not keep her secret? Patrick asked. She seemed to have a good reason to lie. Because I promised not to betray you, Trey said. Trey said, okay, no trouble spelling now. Alright, we are close to the end of this chapter, so I'm going to finish it up. Because I promised not to betray you. Patrick's lips pulled into a tight line, and he stood as well. I want to go. She stood and said, "What's wrong with staying here?" What's wrong with staying here? He shook a bottle of pills before returning it to his pocket. I'll take my medicine, my ward angel. I just want to go. I have a good feeling about the next world. I have a good feeling about the next world. And I am going to trust my instincts. She stood and said, "You're both fools." Let's go, Trey. Patrick has instincts. Trey pressed something on his arm. I've watched the video a thousand times, and I still don't know what it was. Patrick had said the stuff was inside his skin, so maybe that's it. Alright, I want to go up here. Eric said next to me, "Cody, this is it," I said. "Just watch." So maybe that's it. His arms lit up. The view washed out before turning to the regular cameras using the light from Trey's own body. The view switched to a dozen cameras all over the monitor from different angles. Yeah, okay. All right, from different angles. Nope, that's not it. What's happening? Eric asked. I didn't answer. The cameras dropped to slow motion. The view rippled and bent. Colors bled into the black and white footage. They didn't just fade from view. They switched positions in the room like they were jumping through space. At regular speed, it was missed. Then more than half the cameras went dark. The rest showed the empty room in night vision. What happened? Eric looked at me. They're gone. Gone where? From what they said, I'm thinking another world, maybe another timeline, a different Earth. Eric stood and walked to my door. What are you doing? I asked. Leaving, he said. You're full of shit. What? You think I faked this? No, Cody. Of course. I think you caught time-traveling Soviet spies in the act. Can't believe you made me sit through this. It's real. It is. He opened my door and said, "Whatever you say." As he walked down the hall, I yelled, "Do you think I hired 3 adult actors to play a trick on you?" He didn't answer, and we never talked about it again. I guess that is what he thought. He still came over to watch drone videos when I found something juicy, but I never saw anything like that again. I wonder, after all these years, if those 3 are still jumping between worlds. And if so, why are they doing it? What were they looking for? It haunts me more than the spooky house on Cheney did back when we thought it was full of ghosts. Maybe it is best that Eric did not believe it. That kept me from showing anyone else. And I guess that's for the best. All right. That is the end of that chapter. Let me write down the next chapter. I'm going to have to do some planning because I've kind of caught up to my notes a little bit. All right. Chapter 9. And this one will be post end 172 military Terror 5, Ben L2, Plague 3, Climate question mark 1, Phone question mark 2. All right. So that complicated title will be the next place our characters visit. And right now I'm at 19,212. The goal was 17.5. So I am well ahead, only 800 words away from my 20,000 goal for tomorrow. So we'll see how that works out. I'm going to go ahead and fill in my my NaNoWriMo goal for the day. So we'll go back to my page, and again, that's where I was. I never remember the word count, 19,212. So 19,212 is what I need to put in. Let me do that now before I get the numbers jumbled. Alright, 19,212. And of course I'm very happy about that. I update my progress. And I've done a 7-day streak. I probably won't make the 21 because I think I'll hit 50,000 by day 20. But we'll see how that works out. I want to go check out some of my friends. So some of my friends who are authors, I'm going to take a look at their pages. Now let's look at Jessica McHugh. Alright, her current goal is 25,000. I believe she's doing 2 novellas, so she may be doing 25,000 and 25,000 more. But the current project is at 21,100, so she's doing great. She could probably write a dozen novellas at the pace that she's writing. Let's take a look at some of our other friends. Alright, Armand Rosamilia. He is a prolific writer and a very good friend of mine. The Devil's School is at 14,580. He's done very well with Nano over the years, and he said that right now he's very excited about it, but he also made a joke on Twitter that ask him again in a week when he's tired and hates the story. But I guess all authors can relate to that a little bit. So let's see, who else can we check out? John Quick is burning up the pace, and he's doing very well too. He's basically at Jessica McHugh's pace, 21,794 on a book called Homecoming, and he has several books he has done in the past as he's gone along. I may go look at some people's past projects to kind of get a look at how they've been doing. I was looking at those the other day, and several of them are good. Let's look at Alex from Iowa. Alex from Iowa is doing a few different things. So I was a little confused yesterday, and he messaged me and explained to me kind of what he was working on. This is a short story he has going, but he has several projects going. Hi Jay, I hope you're well. He actually made an entire project apparently that just to say hey to me on the video, so that's cool. Now I dare him to actually write a 50,000 word book called Hi Jay, hope you're well. Eyes for Internet is one short story he may be doing. Lost Contact. Snafu Holy War is another. And then he's actually doing his main project and keeping a good pace. So these are extras he has going on. But Iowa Creature Feature is his main one. And so he's got a few different projects going all at once. So very good word count for him. Alright, let's take a look back. I switched views so that I'm not showing anybody's profile that doesn't want to be on camera. I got everyone's permission before I did. Let's see how Tim Meyer's doing. Alright, Tim Meyer, Pteranodon Canyon. I think this is where he was yesterday. No, he's updated. 24,212, so doing great work. He may be writing again before the day's over. So love his monster stories, and he's doing a great job. Who else can we look at? I think Stephen Kozanowski is doing well. Let's look at him. All right, he's doing Clickers Never Die, 20,154, so doing great on that. I think that may be a collaboration, but 20,000 words is excellent. I looked at Alex's past projects because he explained to me what was happening with those. I may take a look at other people's past projects too, because I've looked at them myself, and they have done some excellent work. A lot of their best books that I like have been their Nano books, so that's kind of changing my attitude that sometimes NaNoWriMo books aren't the best. In the case of some of my author friends, they're doing an excellent job with those. Langil is at 12,387, so he's doing a great job. Broken Vistas is doing well, and he's not updated today, I don't believe, unless he missed a day in between somewhere. So he's doing a great job. We'll go back to my Nano before we close for today. So again, I can look at it here at the top. So Rise Again, I'm nearly at the 20,000 word mark. So technically tomorrow I only have to write 800 words. I'm almost sure I'll do plenty more than that, and I need to plan out what's going to be next. So this novel is going fairly well. I'm pretty satisfied with the writing so far. It's a little bit different in that I'm using a different narrator for every chapter, and so everybody's view, the view of our characters, it's always from the outside. Aveline got a chapter, Patrick got a chapter, and they're in the story now. Now once we hit a new phase, I believe I may rotate back into some of them as they go along. So we may go back into Aveline's head, we may go back into Patrick's head for a chapter once they park in a particular world for a while. And this may reveal more about the story as we go along. So looking forward to jumping back into the story again tomorrow. It's been really interesting live streaming my entire Nano. I've done it with short stories on Patreon, so you can go back and look at not Patreon, on Twitch. You can go back and look at videos where I've done an entire short story in one sitting, and then of course had to go through and edit it. I didn't know how it was going to work with a novel, but I think it's done pretty well, and it keeps me from taking breaks. So I don't get to a point in the story and then just kind of get up and go do something else and then maybe get back to it. So being able to do all the writing in one session, because I know it's on video, has that kind of kept me focused a little bit. It has made my schedule a little different, so because of course I got it set up, so it's not like just get up in the morning, sit down in the computer and start typing, which is what I would do on a normal day when I wasn't recording. But I think it's going well, and I've actually cut back on a couple other projects that I was also thinking about doing this month, because I got some freelance work that I'm doing as well, so that's something I'll get into after this. But very pleased with how Nano's going, and I hope it's going well for each of you, and I look forward to seeing everybody again tomorrow.